for democracy. They are fighting to rob and steal the mineral resources of DRC Congo. M23 is being armed by Uganda. M23 is being supported by the two brutal dictators of Uganda, Museveni, and of Rwanda, Kagame. These murderers, they've murdered over 3.5 million Africans in people power, our power, NUP, everywhere. The reason why Museveni should be hanged, this is a man who has committed crimes against humanity in Uganda. Not only in Uganda, but in Southern Sudan, DRC Congo. When you hear the genocide in Rwanda, Museveni is the man who supported, who armed the rebels, who went to kill 1.5 Rwandese. And that's why we are calling on, if ever Museveni is arrested, he should die like Gaddafi. At least, if we ever been arrested, let him go in jail. We are calling on again that we'll never stop demanding the accountability of our fellow comrades, of our fellow Ugandans who are in prison for a simple reason, standing against the brutal dictator of Uganda, Museveni. We are talking about a lethal, brutal dictator, Museveni of Uganda. A man who has used arms to silence Ugandans. A man who has used force to sit on millions of Ugandans. A man who has used force to silence democracy and the respect of human rights in Uganda. We'll stand with the suffering Ugandans. We'll stand as long as it goes on in order to expose the brutalities under this brutal dictator, Museveni of Uganda. We are calling on the UK to impose more sanctions against this brutal dictator, Museveni of Uganda. Yes. We are calling on the UK government to stop the funding, because we know that the money going to Uganda, that's taxpayers' money being pumped in Uganda with no accountability at all. That money should stay in our country here to help our policemen and to rehouse our brothers and sisters who are on the streets in the UK streets, who have got nowhere to live. That money should be used to rehouse them during the winter season we are facing right now. People power.
Our power.
Our power. People power. NUP.
Everywhere.
Everywhere.
NUP.
So it's Thomas now. He came in late, so he owes us lunch. He's going to buy lunch for us.
I can't say Happy Valentine. No way can I say Happy Valentine. In Uganda, where I come from, we have no Valentine. They don't love us. The leader, the ruler, does not want Ugandans to live. And I'll start with the small domestics. We have to remember the dead. The current ruler has killed Ugandans over the last 40 years. As I talk here, we need to at least 5 seconds to remember our dead, our people in prison, those who are nursing wounds, those still jailed in prison, those who have gone missing and we see no chance of seeing them again for the last 6 years. He is killed everything. So for about 5 seconds, I'll pause and keep quiet while we remember the dead, those tortured, those still in the torture chamber, those who have gone missing, and a lot of them in prison. We still have over 100 prisoners, all from my party, which is the National Unity Platform. And this party is one of the biggest parties, yet we are being oppressed. The ruler in Uganda has been in power for 40 years. UK has changed leadership, prime ministers 12 times. United States is changing another one, Mr. Tariffs. I think you call him Trump. He's the 12th president being changed. Uganda will still have one. Mr. Tariff will go, and we don't think you should go with him. So, in remembrance of our dead, the people in the torture chamber, the people who have been gone missing, the junta in Uganda, what you see behind me here is called an embassy, should have been an embassy of Uganda, but it's a crime scene. It facilitates our murder. It makes sure the embezzlement of funds from Uganda go through Lord Puppet in the parliament via this embassy. Lord Puppet is of Asian background. Somebody sitting in this embassy is of the same background. And these are the people who have done a syndicate. UK aid goes to nothing. It should stay here and help the taxpayers here. That money, we don't want it in Uganda. Uganda is mineral wealth. Uganda was the third coffee biggest country. Now we are the 10th. Uganda had cotton. Uganda had tea. Uganda had tobacco. Now it's Z. When he came into power, Uganda, just like any African country, the leadership there, the junta there, diminished everything. What we have left, it's the only country on record that doesn't have factories, doesn't have industries. What we have today, if you don't know, are packaging factories. He came to power 40 years ago. We had industries left over from the British colonial rule. We don't have anything. So, I will tell you one thing. Don't give Uganda money. It goes back to UK here via the embassy you see behind me here, to Lord Puppet and then to the community in Leicester. They have swindled so much money that Ugandans are fed up. We don't want aid. We want change of leadership. And the best intervention we want from you, stop funding the dictator. Once you stop funding the dictator, we will sort him out. We are well-resourced. We are well-resourced, I repeat. People power.
Power, power.
Power, power.
People power.
People power.
Power, power.
NUP.
Everywhere.
Everywhere.
NUP.
Kunga Bobi Wine. Kunga Kyagulanyi. Kunga Uganda. Kunga Bobi Wine. Kunga NUP. NUP. Everywhere. People power. Now, what you don't know, the leader, the ruler in Uganda, who has stayed in power for 40 years, the people who cushion his long stay and finance him is the UK government. And they finance our imprisonment. They fund our killing. They fund our murder. You've paid dearly for our murder. The taxpayers' money should stay in UK. We don't want it in Uganda. We are well resourced. Uganda has an agricultural potential. It has a tourism potential. These people in power, the rulers, the juntas in Uganda, have medical tourism, education tourism. Recently, they have shopping tourism. They don't shop in Uganda, they shop here. So, UK, we're not asking too much. All we want is to stop funding him. We can take him on. We are well resourced. We have the finances. We have the new human resources. When I speak of human resources, I don't mean in Puga. People power. Our power.
People power.
Everywhere. NUP. Now, I'll just put you into context. Uganda has what they refer to as national IDs. It took $500 million to make a few IDs. And the rest, the 6 countries in East Africa, spent $200 million. You can see how much he's embezzled the money. So, when UK gives us grants, aids, it all ends back here. That money doesn't go to the very needy. And what's meant to be for the needy ends up in the junta's hand. Him, his wife, his son, his brother. So, if you stop funding, they will never have the resources to torture us. So, we beg UK government to stop funding the dictator. Mr. Tariff is trying what I don't know what he's trying. But UK are the main partners and you are colonizers. The same guy, the ruler of Uganda, who has been in power for 40 years, has ruled Uganda. When he came to Uganda, Uganda had a forest cover of 40%. Today we have 10%. What an environmental degradation. I'm an environmentalist, I'm a scientist, I'm an engineer. I know what ecosystem means. He's degraded it so much. I've lived in UK and worked here. And I'm well qualified to speak about environment. So this is a guy who's polluted the rivers. He imports Chinese to come and suck everything from the river. We don't need the Chinese to mine our sand. We don't need them to cut down our forests. We don't need them to be doing menial jobs, street cleaning. We can do this. He is robbed the Uganda flat to the bare skin. And what we want now is to get him out of power. But so long as you still fund the dictator in Uganda, we can't push him. Stop the aid, stop the grants. Use it here for the taxpayers. It would look better things here in UK than giving the junta that money. We want you to stop funding the dictator. I repeat, stop funding the dictator. NUP, everywhere. People power. Thank you very much.
The so-called Ambassador Patel, I think you can hear the words from Ugandans outside your so-called chamber of torture. This is the so-called Uganda House, is a representative of repression in Uganda. Normally it's supposed to be an ambassador looking after Ugandans in the UK, but it's the other way around. It's a representative of torture in Uganda, a symbol of murder in Uganda, a symbol of rape in Uganda, a symbol of kidnapping in Uganda. When we talk about accountability, we are talking about the 1 billion which is being sent from the UK to Uganda. And on that money, you get like 6 million, which goes to the LGBT community. We need accountability for that money. We need to know how Museveni has spent £6 million of the LGBT community in Uganda who is in charge of that department, where that money has been used, and who has been spending that money. We need to know where that money has been used, on which products, hospitals, funding has that money gone. He has been denying that he doesn't receive that money. Museveni has been denying for the last 20 years that he doesn't receive 6 million grant to help our brothers and sisters in Uganda, the LGBT community. We are standing here today for accountability. We are standing here today to ask the brutal dictator, the £1 billion times 42 years in power, that is 42 billion. But in Uganda, we don't have working hospital in Uganda. For the last 40 years, the UK is sending 1 billion every year. Multiply that by 42. That is 42 billions. We are asking the UK government to not send our money to Uganda. Let that money stay in the UK and help our police, help the homeless, stand for winter. We have our brothers and sisters sleep in the streets in London while our money is being pumped in Uganda to prolong the brutal dictator Museveni, to be used in buying expired tear gas, to be used in the building of the death torture chambers where men and women are being tortured to death. We are counting on the UK government not to send any more money, any more aid, any more grant to Uganda, because that money is going down the drain. That money is going to Uganda with no accountability. And the brutal dictator, instead of building schools, instead of building hospitals, is arming himself so that he can die in power. You're talking about a brutal dictator who has been in power for over 40 years. In the UK, we've changed 13 prime ministers. In America, 12 presidents have changed. In Uganda, we are still living under the same brutal dictator. Imagine, that cannot be democracy. That cannot be human rights. We are talking about the rights of women and men in Uganda. We've been denied our rights under this brutal dictator. We've been denied education under this brutal dictator. Ugandans cannot afford a £1 paracetamol under this brutal dictator. Ugandans cannot afford a £1 meal a day under this brutal dictator Museveni of Uganda. People power. Our power. Our power. People power. It's a good day today, a Valentine's Day, but Ugandans are not buying flowers for their wives and girlfriends. As long as the brutal dictator Museveni is in power. This is not a joke. We are standing in the cold, not because we want.